Okay, so welcome to class again today. I'm just going to add this link because it's different. Take two. So we're going to be talking about severe weather. And I had a problem with the other recording because I didn't sound great. So hopefully I sound okay now. And hopefully Ken will be here any moment and we can continue talking about severe weather because Ken had said something about severe weather now in Japan. Here in Spain, we're having crazy weather. I know in Wisconsin it snowed last week and it's April. Normally by March, everything's melting. Hi, Ken. And I just realized I never had put it on Facebook anyway. So can you hear me okay?
Yes, it's clear now.
Let's hope it stays like that. Okay. Whew. So very good. So yes, we're in room 2 for today. So if you saw a less than a minute video from before, that's what happened. So Ken, as I was explaining today, we're going to be talking about severe weather. Okay. And actually I'm thinking I need to add the link to the other pages as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that and hope that it doesn't distort the connection because it possibly could. But talk to us about the weather in Japan now compared to what it's normally like.
It's a kind of a spring season. It's the cherry blossom tree blooms. Not all over Japan because Japan is vertically long. Climate pattern is different. Very south edge and north edge. South edge is subtropical and north edge is in subantarctica. And most of the Japanese land is in temperate. So usually in temperate kind of from Tokyo to this area, southwest Japan. Now we enjoy spring season. Climate is not so high and not so low. And flower is blooming and usually until June. June is a rainy season, and maybe a lot of kind of air is dry and weather kind of sky is clear, and yeah, a lot of sunshine this season.
Okay. Well, I mean, as you can see right in this exact or you can see how the weather's changing because the sun just disappeared. So I think you might be able to see me better. But it's going to rain. It's going to rain like all day. And so the fact that the sun was out for a little bit was interesting. It's supposed to rain for the next 10 days, basically. So we'll see what happens. It's a little bit annoying at this point because it was raining for 3.5 weeks last month. And everyone is very tired of the rain. And so it's not normal for Spain to do this.
My image of Spain is a kind of dry area, somewhat dry area.
It is. Well, it's also very humid on the coast. I mean, extremely humid on the coast, at least in the south. In the north and everything, I'm not so sure. I mean, it snows here in Spain too, so we have everything within the country. And so some people think, oh, Spain, it's hot all the time. It's nice weather. Not really. You have to be prepared. I have long sleeves on today. It was cold this morning when I went out before 10 o'clock. So, but now I'm sure it's probably nice, even though it's cloudy and sunny. But the weather's changing, and that could be because of the global warming, or other problems, but the weather's changing. Like I said, it was snowing last week. Now it's sunny again.
Right.
Um,
This this weekend, a lot, not this, last weekend was strange. All of a sudden, temperature dropped to maybe 10 Celsius or something, and it's cold. And my friend said it hailed that Saturday morning or something.
Isn't that crazy? It
Yeah.
actually hailed when we were on our way to when I said I went to Cadiz this past weekend. We
Mhm.
were on our way there and there was like this black cloud above us and it
Oh,
hailed and rained really, strong and it stopped. And then
yes.
later it happened again. And so it's just crazy.
Right.
Sometimes and the rain is like very intense for a short amount of time and then it disappears.
Mhm.
So the weather is just acting crazy right now. And so hopefully soon the weather will be nice, but we'll see. It's really strange out there. Anyway, so today what I want to do is do a reading. And
Okay.
so where is my screen share? Here it is. Okay. One moment. I think it's this one. Yes. So good. So now you can see this. Is this big enough for you?
Yes, it's fine.
Okay. Well, what I might have you do, I think I'm just going to have you read all of this. You can see all of it until decide, right?
Okay. This is an article outlining some facts and opinions about climate change and what it might mean for us in the future. Climate change has been defined as a large-scale and long-term shift in the planet's weather patterns and/or average temperatures. Climate change will lead to an increase in drought, flood, heat waves, tropical storms, tornadoes, and wildfires. This this will all have drastic consequences on human beings, ecosystems, and agriculture. The effects of climate change will continue costing more and more each year in terms of damage and having to displace parts of the population. Even when faced with these and many more cold, harsh facts and figures, people find them hard to believe. Or maybe it's just a case of being unwilling to believe them. Maybe it's purely a case of people not being educated enough on the topic. Take a look at these opinions about future climate change and decide.
Okay. So this is the kind of idea that I wanted to talk about. The idea of that the severe weather that's happening is affecting us in multiple ways. As you can see here, with the climate change with droughts, floods, heat waves, tropical storms, tornadoes, and wildfires. It's really having an effect on us. People are losing their houses, they're losing their businesses and have to start over. The ecosystems and the animals are dying. Or maybe the animals have to go to a different place and their body isn't adapted for that place. The agriculture here in Spain, especially in the south, agriculture is huge. There were so many problems at the end of last year because there was no rain. Now there's too much rain. And so it's affecting their growing season and it affects the products. So again, it affects everything. And I don't think a lot of people think about this, how the severe weather is really affecting us a lot.
Yes.
So, what kind of, do you have any questions about vocabulary or anything first? But also, what do you think about this? And what have you noticed in the last, let's say, 10 to 20 years?
Yes, and tropical storm means typhoon, hurricane, and such things.
Yeah, I think what is it, a hurricane, but it's not a hurricane until it hits land, I think.
So, and talking about this issue, I think it is happening. Some people are whether CO2 related or not, but in my feeling experience, when I was a small kid, summer is cooler than now, and winter is colder than now, probably. Sometimes also weather pattern became extreme, actually. Like yesterday, all of a sudden, climate dropped and it held, and then next day, all of a sudden, temperature rose and it warm, and such uh, extreme climate pattern. I think I well, I rarely experienced when I was a kid, but now more I experience this more frequently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just think it's absolutely crazy how different things have been. And yes, I don't know if it's because I'm getting older and I'm more aware of the situation around me, but I
Mhm.
feel that it's getting worse and quicker. I mean, this past year with all of the tropical storms, what were there, seven or eight, I think, in the end? And there were only maybe three or four that were really damaging to the United States. But
Mm.
it's absolutely terrible. Like I said, it affects not just the weather outside and going out if it's raining or really windy, but it affects people's lives and the future of their life. Um, and like I said, with the weather, the climate change as far as the weather and killing the ecosystem, the animals and maybe plants even, those are things that we can never get back. And so it's really scary, and Mother Nature does it alone. Mother Nature, you can't control the wind. You can't control the waves and the waters and the oceans. And that's what's most dangerous is that we have no control. And Mother Nature is a lot stronger than humans.
Yeah, humor is just a part of Mother Nature. So
We're just another animal, if you think about it, we're just another animal living on this earth that, we use different languages to speak and not sounds, for example. Well, in all, they're all sounds, but you know what I mean? I mean, there's really nothing really different from us compared
right,
to any other animal, dogs, or,
exactly.
if you really think about it, how simple it is,
Mm.
how simple we are. So it's quite scary. And so the highlighted words here, harsh and purely. Could you help me describe what these mean? Harsh.
Harsh means intense, more intense. Also hard, probably.
Yep,
And
exactly.
purely means how can it's a adverb of pure.
Yes.
So pure means clear or something.
Okay, sure. Or I would say it's only a case of people not being educated. So
Mhm.
I would say maybe we could substitute for only. It's purely, it's specifically a case. So
Mhm.
yeah, something like that.
Mhm.
Um, and so it's a little, I think this topic is very controversial, especially with the president these days of the United States. And I just wanted to ask what you think of the word unwilling. It says, so maybe it's just a case of being unwilling to believe them. What's unwilling first?
Unwilling means not pleasant. Pleasant. Sorry, no, pleasant. Pleasure, not pleasure.
Um,
Mhm.
not 100%. So it says, or maybe it's just a case of being unwilling to believe them. People don't want to
Mhm.
believe these facts and this
Like,
information,
mhm.
like Trump. So
Okay.
let's just get that out there. So basically, he doesn't think that, he doesn't think that this exists. Well, it does. And so that's basically what unwilling is. And if you don't think climate change doesn't exist, then you can go live in the White House with him.
Okay.
So
Died only in his head. Probably.
exactly. I mean, he's like, I don't understand how spraying my hair with hairspray affects the ozone layer. It's like it's not just only what's inside, but it's how the hairspray comes out of the bottle, and it's just he doesn't understand anything, I don't think.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things he doesn't understand.
Kind of Baron's book describe he have never ever read only one book because he cannot focus on that so long hours.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the reasons he tweets a lot. The Baron explained that in the book. I read the article yesterday about that.
Well, talking about some real people who have some knowledge, it says we asked a random sample of people what they think might happen in the future related to climate change.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're going to look at. Okay, so first let's read one by one. I'll have you read Colin, 35, from Ireland. Okay, go ahead and read this for us.
Colin, 35, Ireland, says, I refuse to believe that my area will be wrecked by rising sea levels. I'm not a believer in this sort of stuff. Even if does happen in the future, I won't be around to suffer the consequences.
Okay, so we have another idiot on our hands. This is Colin, Trump's best friend. So basically he's like, no, none of this exists. It's not going to be my problem. Okay, well, the children of today are the world's futures. And if the children are bad people, then the future will become terrible. So basically, people who think like this and say, oh, no, it doesn't matter. I won't be here. I'll be dead.
Mm-hmm.
That's not solving or helping the problem, but your grandchildren's grandchildren will be. So do you not care about them? So the only question I have is a little bit of the word, wrecked by rising sea levels. What's wrecked?
Wrecked, you used for the ship as well, kind of sinked.
Mm-hmm. Okay, to sink, sunk. Yeah. One of those irregular ones. Not very common, right? I don't think you've ever said that word before here. So in over a year, I think it's not very common. Yes, so to be wrecked by something is to be ruined by something as well. All right. So he says, I'm not a believer. I don't believe in this sort of stuff, in these kinds of, in this situation, basically.
This person's opinion is pretty contradicted. Because
it's pretty negative.
Also, he in the last part she said she doesn't believe, but first part said, but last part she mentioned that it does happen if it
that it will, yeah.
In the future, so I think she believes this.
Well, Colin here, I think, is a guy. He's a boy, so I just really don't.
Okay, man. Yeah, Colin. That's
yeah.
What man's name is.
Colin is just an idiot, I think. Really, I know it's not appropriate for an English class to also in an English class to call someone an idiot, but we can see these things happening. It's on the news. So I think Colin's here to kind of debate the topic a little bit. I'm not going to focus on Colin that much. I like to focus more on the vocabulary in this. Yeah, but you're right. He does say, I don't believe this stuff is happening, and I don't care because I won't be here when it does happen, and so I don't know if he actually believes, but he doesn't want to. He just wants to be ignorant. So either way, we don't like Colin or his opinion.
I think the reason why Trump was, become a president because he and his staff manipulate this type of people, very just
Mhm.
emotional type people.
Well, exactly. And people who don't think before they speak. So,
Right.
and let me just also add that I believe these are fake people. So there's really not a Colin 35 from Ireland who said this. I think it was just, it's a made up thing for class. So I'm
Right.
not really calling anybody an idiot. Okay. All
Okay.
right. What about Miriam? She's 52 from Paris. What does Miriam say?
Okay. I don't really think about climate change very much. It's probably because where I live has very mild weather and I don't have to deal with any damage brought about extreme weather. I'm lucky. I'm very lucky. Not sure there is very much I can do though. So I think I just stay up oblivious. It's too scary to contemplate.
Contemplate.
Contemplate. Hmm.
Good. Well, I'm going to agree with Miriam. I think she's relatively smart. Now that's the other thing too. She says, where I live, there's very mild weather. And so if you don't see the changes next to you or that it affects you, of course you're not going to believe it as much. I mean, what here in Spain, the only thing that's happening is that I think the summer lasted longer last year, and so now the winter is lasting longer this year. So it kind of makes sense. And so when you put it into that kind of perspective, you can understand, like, okay, sure. But if you live in a place that doesn't have like this huge change in temperature or in weather circumstances, and you don't see it, you just, continue on with your day and think nothing of it. But what you're doing could affect this. And so she says, I'm very lucky. I'm not sure there's very much I can do. What do you agree or disagree with her?
I think she explained her feeling of this matter. So yeah, I think some people feel the same thing in the world maybe because if they think it so seriously every day, every hour, it's very difficult to maybe kind of just forget and just live life as they were. Maybe such kind of feeling.
But is
Maybe
that helping? Do you think it's good for the environment?
I think it's called apathy, right? No, apathy.
Apathy?
Apathy.
Apathy.
Like
Apathy.
political apathy or something. Ah,
Wow. You're definitely busting out the more difficult words. Apathy. Yeah, yeah, apathy. I mean, I heard it when I was little. It's more kind of a lack of interest is apathy, something that you're not very interested in. Um, I don't know if it's that. I don't think it's apathy in this case necessarily. I just think she's kind of like, well, it doesn't really directly affect me. So, I don't think what I'm doing is really a problem. Um, so mm, the thing at the end is that she's, it's not sure there is very much I can do. She doesn't think she can do a lot because she doesn't see the weather changing a lot in her area. And then she says, so I'll just state the oblivious or the obvious. It's too scary to contemplate. So she knows it's there,
oh, yeah.
but she doesn't really, it's not in her daily life. And so it's a little bit difficult, like I was saying before, to kind of believe something when it doesn't really directly affect you or you don't see it. So I think apathy is maybe not the most correct word. I think Colin and apathy, sure, would go together. It's not even interest. He just doesn't really, whatever. We'll just ignore Colin. I mean, what else do you think about this in her?
Mm, kind of maybe she was one of she's one of the examples of how people react of this matter in the world, especially the people who are living the area. Climate change is not so obvious.
Mhm. So my question to you is, for example, let's say there's a protest in Paris. Do you think Miriam would go?
I don't think so.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, I would say maybe she's got nothing else to do and she's free, then maybe she would go. Because she does know that the problem exists. Because it's just, she said, it's, you know, too scary to contemplate. It's so scary, I don't even want to think about it. So,
Right.
I mean, I think she knows it's there, but also if it doesn't affect her, then why worry about it on a regular basis? So, so good. Well, let's move down a little bit. Let's see what Ted from New York says. He's 21. Okay, you can read.
Okay. I've just finished a degree in environmental science at college, and hence know an awful lot about the effect of climate change, maybe too much. We've also recently experienced a really bad snowstorms, and so I know firsthand what things like this can do to a place. I regret to say that in the space of a few years, freshwater supplies will be vastly reduced, and if we don't do something about this soon, our population will be wiped out.
Okay. So, thanks for reading. Do you have any questions? I mean, what's your opinion?
That's scary. I don't want to believe this.
Exactly. So going from Colin, who believes in nothing, to Miriam is like 50-50, and now to Ted, who's like 100%, hey, this is terrible. You know, I'm probably a Miriam. You know, it affects me a little bit, but it's not like, and I know it's there and I know it's going to get worse, but I don't know. I mean, I know things I can do on a regular basis, but as far as to undo what we have done already is impossible. And so it's just going to increasingly get worse. So, well, what about firsthand? What does that mean? Can you explain that?
For maybe at the beginning, from the start, from the beginning, maybe.
Yeah, firsthand. Well, firsthand is more from experience. So firsthand experience.
Experience, okay.
Yep. So Ted now has seen. He said, you know, there's really bad snowstorms now, and so he can see things in New York, whereas Miriam in Paris couldn't see those things. And so that's the difference, is that Miriam doesn't have firsthand experience, but Ted does. Okay. And then he says something of the freshwater supplies will be vastly reduced. What does vastly reduced mean?
Rapidly reduce.
Exactly.
Yeah, rapidly, yes.
Yeah, rapidly, very quickly. And this is something that I have firsthand experience with. Here in Spain, there's a lot of man-made lakes that hold water, and there was some serious problems this year, like I said earlier, with the agriculture businesses running out of water. They didn't have water, and it's so expensive to water those plants in order for them to grow. And so, you know, they lost a lot of money. I mean, now that it's been raining a lot lately, that's changed. I mean, the man-made lakes are refilling with water. Some are at where they should be. Some are still lower than last year, but in general, there's a big difference now. And then wiped out. What's wiped out mean?
Wiped out means like wiper, which means human disappear.
Exactly. To be wiped out is to disappear, to go away forever, basically. And that's because of, you know, like I said, it's ruining everything. And if we continue to have terrible storms, you know, it could be the tropical ones, or hurricanes, or tornadoes, or droughts, or floods. It's going to ruin our land, which will ruin us because we won't have the food that we need. So it's quite scary how you know, it's called a chain of events that could happen and be the end of us. Good. Okay. Well, any other comments about TED?
No, it's scary, but I think also it's persuasive because he got a degree of this field, so maybe based on the research, so it's scary.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, I'm, you know, learning about and everything too. Oh, I just made it bigger. And I didn't even check. Yes, and you know, having this experience, you know, at college and learning about it and things, of course, it's going to, you know, make you believe in this even more. And again, it's a first-hand experience which Miriam doesn't have, and TED does. So. Perfect. Well, why don't you go ahead and read this part with Kate 41 from Norway, okay?
Kate 41 Norway says, I think that my own approach to protecting our environment is sensible. It's not me. It's these other individuals who don't care. This is what we can blame climate change on. Carelessness. It makes me angry that people are letting down our planet without a second thought. Unfortunately, I will have to live with the consequences of their actions.
Okay, exactly. So this is the same idea about carelessness. Let's start with that word. Good vocabulary word. What does carelessness mean?
Don't care anything.
Exactly. People don't care. So this is probably the first problem. People who are ignoring it and don't do anything about it. And as she's saying, you know, I think that my own approach to protecting our environment is sensible. It makes sense. If people don't care about something, they don't worry and they don't do anything to avoid it. And so, you know, then we have these problems. And so she says, it makes me angry that people are letting down our planet. What is letting down in this case? What does letting down mean?
Maybe to deteriorate, devastate.
To devastate. Well, this is something that happens when people have expectations. For example, Kate is thinking, hey, if everybody cares, then, you know, we can improve our planet, we will do better. But if people don't, they're going to be letting down. And we have these high expectations of surviving for hundreds of thousands of years on this planet. Not us individually, but, you know, the human race for a long time. We're not going to go extinct. But if people don't live up to the expectations that our planet needs, we're letting someone down. We're letting the planet down. Does that make sense?
Oh, yes. And I have one question. Approach to protecting. And approach requires gerund. That's why it's gerund.
So I don't really work a lot my own. Okay, so if we look at these three words specifically.
Okay.
And let me write in the chat box at the same time my own way of thinking. We could say approach is way, of is a preposition, the same as to, and thinking in this case is with ing as well. So let's say to, it's not to protect. I think that my own approach to protect the environment, that's protecting the environment. To protecting is a little different, has a different meaning. It's like her, of course, her idea, her approach. I think it could be because of the sentence structure.
I see.
But it has a little different meaning because it's her idea, her opinion of how to do something, her opinion of protecting the environment.
Okay. My own way of protecting.
Yep.
The meaning of this. Okay, I got it.
That's a really good question. I'm a little bit. Do you know the word stumped?
Sorry.
Stumped. Words stumped that are written in the chat box means a little like, what do I do with this? I don't know what to say. But it's something like that, but there's definitely more to it than that. Boy, I just want to write this down so I can investigate. I'm going to write it down anyway. So, good topic for some things. Okay, so approach to protecting. Okay, so Kate, because people don't care, in Kate's opinion, she's going to have to live with the consequences. What are things that we can do to help protect the environment?
I think maybe still some people arguing about what is the causes CO2 or not, like Trump. So to identify the causes, and then if not, we cannot solve, or we cannot know what kind of thing we have to do. So if the CO2 is is heavily related to this, we need to do the things how can I say
correctly?
Yeah, to reduce CO2 we are releasing.
We need to reduce a lot of the emissions and gases, for example, the pollution, contamination in the world. But I think it goes at the end of the day to everything. I mean, if you think about it, I actually would like to do a class about the food that we eat, because I watched a video, and I'm going to type it in here. It's called What's Your Health? And it's about the food that we eat and how, like, for example, on the Cancer and Heart Association websites, they say, oh, eat this food. You know, here's some really good recipes for the heart. But when you really look at the recipes, they have food in them that they shouldn't. For example, meat. And meat is fed very terrible things in the United States. And so the hormones and whatever else that these animals are given to grow faster, to get faster, so that we can eat them, is absolutely killing us. And that, to me, is why we're getting cancer, why we have diabetes, why we have all of these health problems. They say if you eat a plant-based diet, so basically vegan or vegetarian, then all of your problems will disappear. And it happened to some of the people in the video where a lady couldn't walk. She was on, I don't know how many pills per day. Same thing with another man. And 2 weeks after changing their diet to going vegetarian, all of the problems disappeared. And so, you know, I think everything that you have in your house, anything aerosol, like I said, the hairspray, some of the hairspray is bad. The deodorant that some men have, and some spray in general, like perfume or cologne, are not good. It's just, I mean, the gas that's why electric cars are going to be so important in the future. We'll run out of gas. And I hope that happens, because in Madrid, for example, when the pollution gets so bad, they have a rule about your license plate number, and if it ends with an even or an odd number, I think it is, or something like that, you can drive X amount of days and that kind of thing. So they force you to use public transportation, which I suppose is okay because it's for our health, but at the same time, what if you need your car? You know, so there's always this kind of second situation. But this is the same idea, in my opinion, for the environment. If people don't care, we're just going to kill ourselves. We're doing it to ourselves without even knowing, because businesses don't tell us that something is bad. So, a lot of people nowadays there's some countries banning plastic bags because plastic doesn't, what's the word? Biodegrade or degrade or something. If you bury a plastic bag in the ground, it'll be there in 20 years, the same plastic one. And so they're saying that that's really terrible. Now they're saying that plastic in clothes, such as spandex and things like that we use to work out, is also bad for us because it's leaving fibers in the washer, and the washer, the water leaves and goes into the lakes and oceans and is killing fish. It's a nonstop. Everything is a nonstop. It's just a cycle of us killing ourselves and the rest of the world, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any questions or comments on that?
No, I heard, because we are living in the Gaia, so Gaia is a kind of ecosystem, so we are part of our ecosystem. So, but maybe modern life consume a lot of based on the consumerism. So we consume a lot. Also, company or society or media are just to consume. So, but in the end, maybe this issue is related to that thing, and we need to rethink our lifestyles. Actually.
I think that's absolutely true. Walk somewhere, ride your bike. I mean, sometimes we need to take a car. That's fine. But, just be cautious of what you're doing on a regular basis. And, I think we watched the video of a zero waste girl years ago, a while ago. And she had basically no trash in the last 2 years because she was able to recycle or reuse something. Or she went to the supermarket or grocery store and used her own non-plastic bags for fruit and vegetables and things. And, it's a crazy world. It's a vicious cycle of, if we do one thing, it's hurting us in the end. When, you try to eat chicken or turkey, something that's healthier, and they say those are worse than actual beef because of if it's steroids or whatever medicines that they put in it. So I mean, you can't trust anybody. But we can see what's happening to our world, and I think if everyone would take a step back, look around, what can we do, focus on some of the problems, our world won't end as soon as it will at this rate, because it's just such a terrible situation. So, well, that's about it. I know we're out of time. I know it's a short class today, but we did have a little problem. At least we solved the problem, and I was able to record something today. So, more than just less than a minute for the first video. So, hopefully, you enjoyed the class. And I think, talking about this again is important in the future. So maybe we'll discuss some other ways.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You're very welcome. I just want to mention next class is going to be about big and small businesses. Basically, in class, we're going to write a list of pros and cons. So I get different ideas because it's always my ideas. And so next class, I want to get your ideas. Hopefully, more of you will come. And of course, I'll have my ideas as a backup. But I think it's really important to get your opinion and see what you think of working for big businesses or small businesses.
Okay.
So fantastic. Well, Ken, thanks for joining as always. Thanks for watching as always too. And we'll see you on Wednesday.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Bye. Be safe. Save the world.
Yeah.
Don't forget. Okay. Bye. Yeah.